Hello everybody! Today we're gonna paint this soft ocean scenery, and I really want to focus on a few different ways to leave white details in your watercolor paintings. I promise this painting is much easier to create than it looks, so I really hope you will give it at least a try. I'm starting everything by taping down this piece of watercolor paper so it doesn't wrinkle too much while we are applying water to it. And then firstly, I'm gonna draw a quick pencil sketch. I'm mainly trying to find placements for the rocks in the water and then drawing a simple line to the horizon. You can make this sketch as detailed as you want, but since we're gonna use pretty light colors today, it's better to keep the pencil marks as light as possible as well, so they won't show up in the final picture. As I mentioned, we are really gonna focus on leaving white areas in your painting, since I want these wave splashes to really stand out from the rest of the painting. However, if we also want to be able to create a very smooth color to the background, it's quite difficult task with watercolors to kind of go around the white areas and keep everything separated. And that's why in this video, I'm showing you this, in my opinion, very easy and beginner-friendly technique that I tried out recently, which is using masking ink. If you've never heard of this, masking ink is this type of a glue that you can add in the beginning to the areas you wish to keep white. Then this glue will dry and you can just color on top of it, and in the end just peel off the glue and it leaves you with these beautiful white areas. So I'm adding this ink to the splash areas as well as on the rocks where I want to create these white streams of water. So after the masking ink had completely dried, I started the actual painting process by painting this sky. I leave all the main colors I'm using to the screen, but honestly, you could create this same scene with many different color combinations, so don't worry if you don't own these exact same colors. We're gonna start with a wet on wet technique on the sky, which means that we are first wetting the whole sky area without adding any color, and this will just help the colors blend better and create this very seamless soft look. I'm using my flat brushes throughout this whole video because I love how versatile they are, especially when painting water. I wanted the sky to have this pretty lilac hue that's slowly fading to more of a bluish gray tone. So I started everything by creating these color stripes with those tones. Then I added a bit of this orangey color to the middle here and just let it blend to all of the soft lilac tones. You could go darker with the sky if you want, but I wanted to keep this painting pretty light since I often tend to go overboard with the darkness. If you want to go darker, just be careful when using grayish tones in the sky, since it's very easy to accidentally create a stormy look if you go a bit too far. I've noticed that whenever you're trying to create a soft, seamless look like this, the key is to let the water do its thing and blend the colors for you. Also, working pretty quickly while the whole area is still wet really helps. Okay, so now that the sky is done, we are gonna let it completely dry before moving on to the water part. I started from the top of the horizon, that will be the darkest area on the water, and then just started to work with these horizontal strokes. As you can see, I'm first leaving these thin white stripes that create an appearance of waves in the distance, and it's always easier to remove some of them later than add more, which is why I left a pretty generous amount of white everywhere at first. Also notice how in this part I didn't wet the paper beforehand, so we can create these more detailed shapes exactly where we want them. This is a very different effect than what we wanted in the sky, but it will allow us to leave those detailed white areas. I kept changing the intensity and the tone of the blues a bit and was a little bit more careful when I was working around the rocks. If you look at pictures of beaches, usually the closer we get to the coast, the lighter the water seems to turn, so that's why I kept the tones pretty light in the front part of this painting. So now that we have some first blue layers, I decided to add some color to the rocks next. I mixed some brown and black to create this dark grayish tone and then tried to keep the strokes pretty sharp to create these more angular shapes. I think adding some shadows to the lower parts of the rocks really helped to make them look a little bit more realistic. After that, I just kept adding more layers of blue with these long strokes again, and I think the variation in the colors really helped to bring more life to this painting. Then I let the painting fully dry again in this point, and now we can finally start to remove the masking ink and reveal all the white areas. If you want to be careful, I guess you could use tweezers or something, but since I didn't really care about this painting, I just removed everything by rubbing it off with my fingers. This is such a great technique to also create all different kinds of sharp details to your watercolor paintings, and I think the best part is that you don't have to sacrifice the background. So now that we have all these white splashes everywhere, I started to add some shadows to them since they look pretty weird just like this. I think adding shadows with these tapping motions worked the best, and I added them mostly to the middle parts and then let the outer droplets pretty much stay white. But as always, there's really no right or wrong way, especially when it comes to painting water, so just try different things out and see what you like the best. However, now that the ink was gone, we could kind of see the final look, so I started to add some final darker details to the water and also added some more color to the front part. I found the waves to be the most difficult part of this painting, but adding some small dark shadow just underneath the white area really helped in my opinion and created the correct shape for the waves. So that was all for the watercoloring part, but I'm still gonna show you how I added some finishing touches to the white splashes with my white marker. I think this is such a good trick to really bring your painting to the next level, since you're able to create much smaller white details than just with the masking ink. Be sure that your painting is completely dry again in this point, and then just create as many white dots and waves as you want. I think I might have gone a bit overboard with all the splashes in this picture, but since it was kind of the main thing I wanted to practice here anyway, I didn't really care about it so much. I think adding all these white details made such a difference. You could actually do the exact same thing with white gouache paint. But after that was done, I just finished everything off with these birds on the sky. And I guess after that, it was finally it. I really hope you enjoyed watching this simple watercolor practice, and I hope you'll try this at home. I know painting water can be a little bit intimidating at first, but it's so much fun and you can create so many different looks, so I hope some tips in this video will make it easier for you as well. If you're new to my channel, I make these painting and drawing videos and mainly videos about bullet journaling, so if that's your thing, definitely consider subscribing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope all of you are having an amazing day or night wherever you are, and see you in my next one. Bye bye!